Hey guys, welcome back. Drip and Farm for Pop. I'm your host, Drip Coach, and let's jump right into it. So today, or in today's video, we are going to be discussing a topic that is basically in mass effect and affecting our perceptions in the digital age, especially in the realm of DeFi. And it's inspired by a podcast with this woman here, Dr. Tali Shiro, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. She was the second time she's actually been on Diary of a CEO. If you're not familiar with Steve Bartlett, he does this podcast, interviews a lot of CEOs, different businesses, different areas, and just get some insights. So it's really cool. Way to just get little nuggets from different people that have achieved levels of success and fame. But neuroscience, habits, subconscious beliefs, neuro-linguistic programming, cognitive behavior therapy, all this stuff I've been kind of diving into because it helps with my coaching side of things, trying to get people to move beyond their subconscious beliefs or limiting belief systems, as Tony Robbins would say, and find out, how to actually get the body and results they want, So finding out how your brain is wired and why you do what you do can be super insightful. Now, how this relates to DeFi, because it's the same brain, and understanding how it can color our perceptions can again be truly insightful. So in this clip, I'm going to play a couple clips from her and show you the parallels to DeFi, because Dr. Shiro highlights the intriguing phenomenon known as the illusionary truth effect. Simply put, when we hear information repeatedly, our brains process it with less effort, leading us to believe it more readily. This isn't just psychological jargon, it's a fundamental aspect of human cognition. So let's listen to that clip from her. Where was that? Is that here? Let's see. Illusionary effect. Here we go.
But in fact, most of the times, the reason we believe something is that we were brought up in an environment where that belief was a popular one, or people around us believe it, or we've heard it again and again. One interesting thing is this is a huge effect where people are not aware of it. As long as you hear something repeatedly, even twice, the likelihood that you believe it goes way up versus something that you hear once. It's called the illusory truth effect. There's so many studies showing this. You tell people something twice, they don't remember that they've heard it twice. And they're going to believe it way more than something that they...
So that's just with repeating something twice. There's also different phenomenon they've studied where if it rhymes or has alliteration, like I use this in marketing all the time. I got this from some marketing psychology books, using rhyming words, certain numbers, the top 5 ways, blah, blah, blah. Like all these different things make people click and make things more believable. And the reason I bring this up, especially about this illusory truth effect, is because we see this super powerful in DeFi, because consider how often you hear bold claims about a cryptocurrency's potential or project's revolutionary technology. Just a simple search for whatever your project will be will usually bring up tons of content creators telling you things about it. Like we go to Drip, it's not nearly as bad as it used to be, but you guys know well and good that, and I was included in that this helps with that illusory truth effect, because what happens is you have multiple people saying the same thing multiple different ways on multiple different platforms, from X to Reddit to Telegram groups to YouTube platforms, all this stuff, right? So you just kind of start to believe it. The most perfect example of this is that we heard that Drip was immutable. I echoed that because I heard many of the OGs saying the exact same thing. Lo and behold, it was not. No one ever looked behind the curtain and checked the code to find out that it wasn't immutable. And that came as like a shock to all of us because we just believed it to be true. And that's just our brain kind of, in this case, working against us, but it's actually the brain being efficient, trying to conserve calories. So this brings us to the echo chambers of DeFi. Telegram groups, Twitter feeds, and content creators often repeat certain narratives, whether it's a token's imminent surge or a project's groundbreaking potential. These repeated messages create a reality for investors, and we don't challenge those realities. Which this brings me to a quote that comes from Orson Scott Card. This is how humans are. We question all our beliefs except for the ones that we really believe in, and those we never think to question. And there's nothing more truer than that than within DeFi. There's just so many things that we just assume to be true, and we never question it. And then actually on the flip side, when you question it, you're labeled as a fudder and all these other things. So then it, of course, can leave a bad taste in your mouth to be like, okay, well, I guess I won't ask questions, and I guess I'm the idiot, you know, because clearly everybody else believes this and I'm the only one asking questions about this. So you start to question those beliefs and you just, you know, drink the Kool-Aid. So there's one other clip from her that I want to play that ties this in with the rest of this.
Let's say I tell you that a shrimp's heart is in its head, right? So when you hear that, that sounds really surprising, and your brain takes a lot of resources to process this. You might think about the last time I ate a shrimp, right? Or just imagine the shrimp's heart is in his head. But the second time I'm going to tell you this, a shrimp's heart is in his head, your brain's not going to process this as much, right? And the third time, it's not going to process it at all. Now, when your brain takes less effort in processing things, that causes a signal of familiarity. And as a result, we're more likely to believe something. When something requires less effort and less energy to process, we believe it more. So anything that you hear again and again and again, as you hear it more and more and more, it takes less energy to process. And if it takes less energy to process, our brain then concludes that is likely true. So
we can definitely see how that would play against us in the do your own research and don't trust but verify, you know, all this stuff, right? Because what ends up happening, hearing these narratives over and over and over again, is it leads, that unchallenged repetition leads to the cult-like following in the project. And then that leads to FOMO. And then you're driven by the illusion of the consensus that the project is sustainable, or it's going to $1 million or whatever, because everybody keeps saying it's so. And then you just don't do any due diligence and you just kind of follow the herd. So I can't blame people for doing this, because it's literally the way your brain is wired. So you have to actually interrupt that and challenge things, or create fail safes, stopgaps, if you will, to help you navigate spaces like this, especially when it comes to finances, because it's going to be playing against you and the deck is not stacked in your favor. So you might be asking yourself, how do you navigate the noise? What do you do about this? How do you combat the biases of your brain? And it's just by having this awareness. So I'm going to give you a simple test just so you can see this for yourself. I'm going to show you two statements on the screen, and then I'll kind of pause for a bit. And then I want you to decide which of these two statements is more believable, more true. And then we'll play a clip from Dr. Chiro again. So take a look at these two statements here. BTC to 100K in 2024. Bitcoin could potentially triple its current value in under 1 year's time. Which one of these is more likely to be true? All right, let's play a clip from her to give you some context and see if you picked the right one.
Even things like it takes you less energy to process a large font, 14 font, bold. It takes us less energy to process it versus like small font.
Yeah, we see that across the board in all of our marketing companies, is that if we just make the font a little bit bigger, we get more clicks.
So it
just
turns
a
out,
tiny bit click.
Yeah, not only are people more attentive, they're going to believe it more. So there's studies showing that you show people two sentences. One is in big fonts, bold, and one is in small. And you ask them, you know, how likely is this to be true? How likely is that to be true? Those sentences that are in big, bold fonts people are more likely to believe they're true because the brain requires less energy to process it, which then makes us conclude that it's likely to be true. And it's true for like, for example, if you do it with like red color.
So if you picked the one on the left to say it's more likely to be true than the one on the right, then by her definition, you would be correct. Ironically though, both of these are exactly the same. So tripling its current value, it's sitting at like 35,000, 34,000. That will put it at 100K. And under 1 year's time, it's still 2024. So I literally just typed up two identical statements, but purposely made this one a little harder to read. It's smaller. Now I'm just curious from you all in the comments. Obviously, I can't know right now if that made you believe one or the other. But again, this comes into play because why? When you look at content creators, and again, I'm guilty of this because that's part of marketing, like Steven said there, you use big font to get your point across. So you want people to pause and read what you have to say. So one of the most habitual ones for this, you can't find them anymore, was CK, drip to $1,000, you know, drip to the moon or whatever. He used to make these really bold statements like this, big fold font. And it gets the clicks, like it works. So as I learned from Tom Bill, you operate the way the world is, not the way you wish it was. So this is not a bad thing, but realize that your brain could possibly be working against you. So the solution is that the more you hear something, the louder and bigger and more believable it looks to be, the more you should be doing your own research, especially in DeFi. So that should just basically flip the script so that you can use the exact same patterns that are telling you things are SAFU and use it as an interrupt. It's like, okay, everybody's talking about this. Everybody's saying this is going to the moon. Everybody is on board with this. Perfect example. Let's look at this one right now. You got a lot of people talking about even the sustainability of this. And again, I'm not shitting on it, but the fact that everybody's jumping on it and that it has these high payout rewards, a lot of people are talking about it. That should actually give you pause before FOMO, because literally now you understand a little bit more about the way the brain works. So because everybody's telling you this, it should make you go, wait a minute, hold on, let me check into this. How much am I really looking to lose, or can I afford to lose, or whatever the case may be? So I hope that shed some light. I just found that fascinating. Again, I just like the marketing side, psychology of all these different things, because I use it in fitness, and we've seen it. If you're from the US, you definitely know how this has plagued the health and fitness industry, Food and Drug Administration, stuff like that. Constant narratives of certain things being good for you, and then they flip the script and tell you it's not, and then you're like, wait a minute, everybody was saying it was, and they use different claims. 3 out of 5 doctors say this, 4 out of 5 doctors say this, or they use a influencer, a celebrity or whatever to endorse something. These are all different ways to kind of use this same thing that Dr. Shiro is talking about, to where you hear it multiple times, you just believe it. But they're all different types of layers of authenticity and validation, so that we don't question it. We just go with the narrative, and you get to be part of the cult. And a lot of times, again, that is a benefit of the brain, to conserve energy, conserve calories, because you don't want to have to keep reading into something to know if it is indeed good for you, or if it's safe to do XYZ activity. It's like you should eventually start to be able to draw conclusions and therefore navigate life on your subconscious autopilot. However, in DeFi specifically, I think that this is one of the times where you need to not use that, and that it can work against you. So shouts out to Diary of a CEO, Steve Bartlett, and Dr. Shiro. So check out his channel if you haven't already, and if you want to learn some cool stuff about different things, and check out this clip. Hopefully that provided some insight, some value, some clarity, some gee whiz nuggets into the wonderful world of DeFi, gaslighting, and getting wrapped up in cult-like followings and narratives, and don't trust but verify, all that stuff, so that you have at least a little more tools in your tool bag to navigate these murky waters going forward. All right, smash that HBO special, help a brother out, like, subscribe, comment down below, and until next time, live daily and achieve your impossible. See ya. Want to pay your in real life bills with crypto? How about send crypto directly to anyone with a bank account? SPRITZ Finance is a decentralized solution to be your own bank and connect your crypto earnings to real-world bills and payments. They do not take custody of your assets and allow support on multiple blockchains and Web3 wallets. Sign up below using my referral link and you will get $50 back when you make your first $50 bill payment with crypto. Additionally, I will be using referral bonuses to airdrop, donate, or burn based on community feedback. Sign up now.